And right now on the Pirate Preview, very excited to have with us from BlackKnightNation.com, Sal Interdonato, as the Pirates will be traveling to West Point to take on the Black Knights. Noon kickoff on ESPN2. And now we'll break this matchup down with Sal. Sal, we appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, as you take a look at this Army team, obviously ranked 23rd this week by the Associated Press poll, 24th in the coaches poll. They've won 10 straight games, 6-0 for the first time since 1996, and they've just been dominating folks. Yeah, not the most challenging of schedules, but it's still very impressive what the Black Knights have done, winning by an average margin of 40-10, with the leadership of Bryson Daly and company. So, if you would just, sum up the first half of the season for the Black Knights as they head into this East Carolina matchup on Saturday.
Sure. Before the season started and when the AAC schedule came out, one of our writers, Seth Mendelson, was like, it's a pretty favorable schedule that the AAC gave Army in their first season. And he was right. I mean, right now, they're 5-0 in the conference. Really haven't been challenged too much other than maybe Florida Atlantic, but that might have been battling the elements and the heat as much as Florida Atlantic, to be honest with you. They faced the bottom of the AAC pretty much, and East Carolina is a middle tier team, right, that's looking to make the jump up, and that's going to be its toughest competition. I mean, this season so far, Bryson Daly's had an incredible year right now, 14 touchdowns. I wrote a story about him and being in at least the Heisman Trophy discussion because of what he means to the team. I mean, he Army goes as Bryson Daly goes, and Bryson Daly will say Bryson Daly goes as far as the offensive line goes for Army. And the offensive line's 5 guys who have started all 6 games together. They have experience with Connor Finucane, who's back for his 5th year. Didn't think he was going to get the extra year of eligibility, but did get it. They have a great center in Brady Small, who's maybe a little undersized, a sophomore. The offensive line has really been pretty elite in the first 6 games. We'll see if East Carolina can give them their best fight there. And they have a lot of different weapons on offense. I mean, Kanye Udo is a great sophomore fullback. He has broken off some big touchdown runs. Noah Short's been a big play guy in the slot, running or receiving the ball. They're hard to stop. And Cody Worley, their offensive coordinator, has been brilliant in the first 6 games. He's keeping defenses off their toes, so to speak, or on their toes, so to speak. And it's been pretty impressive to watch. It's kind of getting a little boring, guys, watching these games, to be honest with you. The games are usually over by halftime. The fourth quarter of the last 3 or 4 games has been second and third teamers for Army. So
you talk about the offensive coordinator. People familiar with Army triple option last year, they got away from it early in the season, went back to more of an option game, but they still run some triple option. But it's not a true triple option like, people are used to seeing with a wishbone or a flex bone. Talk about exactly what the option look is and what we expect to see from their offense on Saturday.
Yeah, it's multiple, right? Sometimes they'll line up in the shotgun. Sometimes they'll line up in the shotgun, and Bryson Daly's it's a quarterback, it's a quarterback keep, right? He's waiting for his holes to open up, and he picks the hole and goes. He's 220 pounds, so when he's running full steam, good luck trying to stop him. They run a shotgun a little bit. They'll spread. They've gone to no backs at times. They're trying to keep their the defenses on. Just giving them as much looks as they can. Last week against UAB, they actually gave Noah Short an inside handoff from a slot back position. He got 5 or 6 yards, didn't break a touchdown, but something else now that defenses have to worry about. Maybe they'll run that play more than once in the game. I mean, Cody Worley's done, and you know what? The play calling has been on point when it comes to the play action pass too. I can't tell you. It seems like 2 or 3 times a game an Army receiver's running wide open 40 yards down the field. Bryson Daly's hit Casey Reynolds with a couple big plays and Noah Short. So, it's not a true wish. It's not a true wishbone, not a true triple option. They're an option. They call it an under center option, basically, where you can do a lot of different things, and they'll probably run shotgun maybe 6 to 10 plays a game.
Yeah, I believe I heard Coach Houston. You talked about the passing game. 20 of 37 on the season, but thrown for almost 500 yards with just 20 pass completions. That's pretty efficient.
Yeah, and I just think it's a play calling at the right time. He's missed a couple too. So those numbers can be a little bit. He's missed probably a couple touchdown passes too. So this offense can be probably a little. I wonder. I kind of asked Coach Monken, I think, after the UAB game, have we seen the best of Army yet on offense, or even the best of Army this year as a team? And he thinks there's still room to grow, and I think that some of that is the offense hitting those bigger plays. So.
And Kyle, to your point about the triple option, that's something that Coach Houston referenced, as far as the midline variation of that. But then also, quarterback counter and quarterback follow, which he says is definitely seems to be the favorite play, what he's seen film of. And, quarterback lead zone, there's not an abundance of plays, but it really, from a defensive perspective, it's so hard to defend. I mean, you're running these plays out of a variety of formations. I recall, I think it was the second touchdown in that UAB game on Saturday. Army lined up in a shotgun trip set, and then they motioned the receiver from the boundary in to lead block for Bryson Daly. So just things like that is just making sure that you, as you always hear, when you're facing an offense such as this, there's no margin for error, and you have to be very assignment sound, even more so than usual.
Yeah, the offense. I would just say the offensive line. I talked about them a little bit, but they're pulling guys and getting their offensive line out into space more than they did in the past few years. I mean, you got Lucas Scott, a right tackle who played right guard, started almost every game at right guard last year. He's at right tackle. He's a former state wrestling champion. He's getting out in space, and Connor Finucane at left tackle is pulling to the right side and knocking guys down. Bill Katsianis at left guard is pancaking guys. I mean, it's a sight to see if you're watching offensive line play, no doubt.
Defensively, you guys have been impressive also. Seems you like to keep everything in front of you, come up and tackle. How much of your defensive success is duly, kind of because of the time of possession? You guys on offense control the ball a lot. That has to help your defense out a lot. Not taking anything away from your defense, but I would imagine the time of possession on offense, it makes your defense's job a lot easier.
To be honest with you, Kyle's a little bit of a myth this season because teams are coming out trying to possess the ball against Army. They're going for it on fourth down like UAB did at their own 33-yard line on their opening drive. They're trying to get those. I think it was the Tulsa game where they ate up a lot of clock and tried to eat up a lot of clock on Army in the first half. But Army's quick striking, scoring. They had like 5 touchdowns in the span of 12 minutes of play, maybe, against Tulsa, something crazy like that. And so, I mean, you would think the defense has been on the field more than they want to be this year for Army, I think, because the offense is scoring so quick. So I got to give credit to Nate Woody. They only had 3 starters returning back from their defense. And you were thinking, okay, we'll see how this defense goes. It might take some time for them to get into stride here. And they really haven't missed a beat. Max DiDomenico has been great at safety. He's played a half the games or more with a club on with a broken thumb, and he's just toughing it out and making plays. Casey Larkin has been a good safety mate with him. He was supposed to be the starting nickelback this year, but when Steven Nadozi, a sophomore, got hurt in preseason, they moved Casey back to safety where he played last year, and he had 2 interceptions against UAB. They're doing a really good job. I came up with a crazy stat I researched, and now I'm going to give the exclusive here. Army has yet to give up a run of longer than 20 yards this year. They've only given up a 19-yard run as their longest through 6 games. To me, that's pretty incredible. Yes, they're ahead in games a lot, right? So the opposing team is throwing the ball a little bit more. But even early in games when the opposition is trying to establish the run to keep Army off the field and eat up clock, they haven't given up a run over 19 yards this year. To me, that's an incredible stat.
No doubt.
Speaking of incredible stats, Sal, one that jumped off the page at me is, Army's efficiency in the red zone when it comes to scoring touchdowns. 25 trips into the red zone, 22 touchdowns.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking this up, and I don't have full stats yet, but they're staying on schedule. You don't see them in too many 3rd and longs, and then when they get into the red zone, they're pretty efficient because you don't know where you're going to get hit from. Mostly it's Bryson Daly doing a lot of damage this yeyear in the red zone. But like I said, Kaneudo can run inside and outside it's a little bit of guesswork. I don't think they've had a touchdown pass yet in the red zone. It's a lot of Bryson Daly. And to be honest with you, I mean, he earns every yard he gets. He's a physical runner. Man, his stiff arms are getting viral. We're used to that for Bryson Daly, but now the nation's showing just how much of a physical guy he is. He's a fullback playing quarterback for Army, basically, with some pretty good speed too. So he's been the real key in the red zone for them.
Now, talk a little bit about the environment in West Point this week. I know the stadium is undergoing some construction. What can Fire fans expect this week up in West Point?
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a sellout. I think it sold out a couple of weeks before the game, so that'll be about 30,000 fans. 4,000 cadets. It's mandatory that the cadets are not playing sports or any other activities be at the football game. And this team, I will say, it's been a little different because they moved the cadets. They used to be on the east side of the stands where the opposing team was, but now with construction there, they moved them to the north side. And when I talked to Noah Short about this, and the team seems very energized when they're going to that side of the end zone, the north side of the end zone where the cadets are, and they score a lot of their touchdowns on that side of the field, to be honest with you, during these games. And the fans Army's a very proud historic program, so you get fans who are been season ticket holders for generations and generations, and they're starting to get the newer fans now, the younger fans out now that they're having a good season this year. So it's a little bit of a mix. You'll see some some old grads there too. By old grads, it could be graduate West Point 5 years ago or 25, 30 years ago. Very proud fan base, and they're starting to pick up and get excited about this team now that they're 6-0.
Sal, I had the chance, back when Matt Semenza, was on the team, making that trip up to West Point. Quite the display, back in the mid '90s. And I know Dave, one of our hosts, is making that trip this weekend. But so, for Pirate fans that are going to be there, tell them some of the things that they can, enjoy, the game day parade and so forth.
Yeah, the game day parade on the plane is a little bit away from the stadium. They have a Black Knights Alley with some entertainment and a kickoff show that's moved to Army's practice field because of the schedule that has been going on. If the weather is okay, you're going to see, cadets or Army soldiers, mostly cadets jumping out of helicopters for the game. They cut with the American flag. One has the game ball, I believe, and you'll see a helicopter fly over too as the team takes the field too. It's there's a lot of tradition. I mean, I can't wait to see what the stadium looks like once the east stands are up, because when the east stands were intact in the old stadium, so to speak, one of the most iconic venues you can play college football game, no doubt.
Yeah, beautiful sitting in Michie Stadium. Fall colors should be pretty on the Hudson. You have the mountains there. One thing I wanted to ask you about as we start to wrap this up, you look at Army, you look at Navy, you look at this day and age of NIL and the transfer portal, something that the academies really don't deal with. And yet Army and Navy are Navy's had a lot of recent success, but they're having a great season. Army's having their best season in years, while obviously Monken's been successful there. I was kind of looking at it from a perspective of opposite. Do you think the continuity that Army and Navy have, you're going to have players returning, you have a brotherhood, you have a group of guys that believe in something, where now the rest of the country is pretty much, it's free agency, is who can go where and make the most money. Do you think that you guys, the academies being so different, no NIL, you really can't just pick guys from the transfer portal, the continuity is making things where you guys are having more success now? Am I making sense?
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. And this year might be the best case in point, because this year, they lost a lot from last year's 6-6 team that were in a couple games and maybe deserved to be in a bowl team if they didn't switch over to the shotgun offense. But, you have guys that it just kind of happens that just step up. They're juniors, they go from junior to senior year, and it's just because they are they're brought up through the program, so to speak, right? I mean, sometimes Coach Monken will always say, "Oh, the team that we're playing is more talented than us," right? They can run faster than us and this and that, but we have the players for 4 years basically, and we can get them from the start and mold them into the players that they are now. I look at an Andre Carter who's with the Vikings right now, playing defensive and rush end. Some of these players are somewhat projects, right? They bring them in. Andre Carter is 6'6", about 245, 250 when he comes in, and they turn him into one of the best pass rushers in the nation. I'm trying to think of a guy this year that they've done that. It's mostly the program it's the brotherhood. It's the program that has built this team. There are no really, if you look at this Army team, there are no really superstars. Bryson Daly puts up all the stats. He's the most humble player. He's the most humble starting quarterback and star player at Army I've ever met. He doesn't want any of the praise. He gives it all to his teammates. He gives it to the guys blocking downfield. And I think that's kind of bonded this team. There's no superstars. There's no egos. They just want to win. And right now they're 6-0 and it's working. And, they're heavily favored again against East Carolina. And, with the schedule that they have, we'll see if they can continue with this 10-game winning streak, how long they can go.
Sal, we appreciate your time on the Pirate Preview. If you would, tell folks how they can check out your website and follow you on social media. You obviously do a tremendous job covering Army.
Yeah, appreciate it. You can follow us at BlackKnightNation.com. You can read our stories. Seth Mendelson and I write stories. Our YouTube channel, I think it's Black Knight Nation 1. We have interviews with players. We do a post-game podcast. If you want to get really deep into Army history, we've had a lot of the really legendary players on our podcast. Instagram, our X is BK Knight Nation. You can check us out there. We're all over the place. If you type in Black Knight Nation, you're going to get us and get our coverage. And I really appreciate you guys having me on to spread the word about the Black Knights, because I think they're a team that's not really getting a lot of national recognition right now. Yeah, they're finally in the top 25, but it's a team that more people should know about, and more people should know about the kids that play at Army and what they give to the team right now and what they give to our country after they graduate West Point. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, and you're certainly spot on. With the job that those young men do, and certainly we appreciate all they do in defending our nation. Following their time there at West Point. Again, take care, and we look forward to having you back on the show down the road.
Anytime, guys. Thanks a lot.